And we are live, at least this is what the streamer is telling us, in another episode of umbraCoffee, episode 174. And we are joined today by Mike Masey. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
And how are you? A long time
I'm
no
very
see,
well.
no chat.
I
Right?
know, right? Very long time. Feels like I've been hiding away for the last year or so.
Oh, someone needs to let you out of the cupboard that you're in currently.
I know, right? It's
Yeah.
Are you in an office right now?
yeah. I'm currently. It's the first time I've been into the Yo-Yo office in over a year. Just so
Wow.
happened to coincide with this.
Nice. I saw some fantastic videos and pictures on Twitter this week of people going back to the office for the first time and saying, "Ah, this is what a 5-month-old banana looks like," and it's like a shriveled black.
Yeah.
I don't know. And people go, "Oh, look, the coffee filter's not been emptied in the coffee machine for a year." Oh, new life forms being grown there. It's going to start another pandemic with all the viruses that probably get released from whatever's been brewing in people's offices for a year.
Hopefully
you
not
come back
worse
in the
than
bananas.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when the banana starts moving on its own. That's when you really got to worry.
Yeah, and it's good to be back as well. I missed two of the umbraCoffees, something about it, and it's good to be back. I'm finally
You
back
missed
at
some
my
good
office.
episodes. You missed some good episodes, Marcin.
I still didn't have time to catch them up, but yeah, it's on my list to watch and to see. But yeah, it's good to be back. Cool. We can move on to some news which happened, of course, this week. We can kick off with Skrift release because that was something what we've noticed on the way, and of course that was a new release coming this week with one article from Aaron Sadler about how to deploy the FTP, how to deploy to FTP and web deploy using Azure DevOps, and also mentioning about some other great articles and stuff collected from the things around the web, highlighting some of the package works and also articles which we've mentioned in the past episode and you've mentioned in the past episodes as well. So yeah, if you are not subscribing Skrift releases, do it to stay up to date with the releases here. And we also had some new other releases, which I don't know if you all followed. Callum, I know you do because you were using and you are still using Vendor, for example, which released which released the version 1.0. Can you tell more about it? Did you
1.80? Yeah, this has got exports in it, so the ability to export orders and stuff, which is fantastic because we've actually got a client who the site's going to be going live in the coming week or so, and I know that they want to export orders, and it was something that we were like, okay, we'll have to build it as and when they want it. But now Matt's done it and saved me a bunch of time, which is great.
Yeah, and Mike, did you have a chance to use Vendor or any other e-commerce with Umbraco?
I've installed. I've played around with e-commerce a few times. I've installed Vendor on a little local one, but I've never had a chance to properly play around with it, and I'm really keen to. We're trying to every now and then. I try and if we have a new e-commerce opportunity come in, I try to push them down Vendor. Yeah. So fingers crossed in the future.
It's very good. I'm a big fan, as we've said. This podcast isn't sponsored by Matt, but probably should be the way we talk about it. No, it's a very good platform and a great example of something that's very Umbraco and just works really nicely. And we discussed this last week in context of building solutions, products to work on the Umbraco ecosystem. They've got to be to a high standard and have got to be kind of polished and work in this way. So it's a really nice choice. And as Jeffrey discussed last week, there's an Umbraco Shop coming, and it's going to be based off Vendor and the marketing suite as well. So that's cool.
I can't wait to see those personalized messages for specific community members and special offers for products like that. But yeah, that's really great to see that, and everyone should probably upgrade to this version. And something else what popped out this week is another package, and of course my Chrome and Edge freezed right now when I wanted to switch to that.
Your video is frozen as well, Marcin.
But I can talk about it at least because that's the multi-node tree picker from UMBRAAD team. And I don't know, guys, if you see that or did you use that or had a chance to check it out already? Or not?
I believe we featured this a short while ago, didn't we? on umbraCoffee as when it was in a beta release or something. I've not had a chance to look at it, but it's interesting that someone's releasing an alternative multi-node tree picker, because it's something that I built for V7. We wanted a tree picker where you could have multiple start nodes, and so the team I worked with previously, we built a multi-root multi-node tree picker. Catchy name, MRN. MNTP. But it's an interesting idea that people would want to extend and maybe replace these with their own versions. I need to have a play with this. I've not really looked at it too much.
I'm extremely curious about this one, because we also had a thought of releasing our own version of multi-node tree picker because of some performance issues which we've experienced with Umbraco built-in one. But then we've decided to maybe contribute back to Umbraco and perform some PRs to just help making the internal one better. But it got frozen somewhere. I don't know where this PR and code is, but it was implemented for one of the clients. So yeah, I'm curious what was the motive or motivation behind this one. And
just looking at the GitHub project, I kind of remember now. So they've introduced this concept of converters to the pickers. So you can, and as they've actually said, they credit Lee Kelleher, they've stolen this idea off Lee's contentment package. This idea that you could convert to a custom model, basically, that you return. So your multi-node tree picker becomes more of an entity picker. You pick something from the CMS, and then you can map those over to your custom model, and that's what gets returned from the picker. It's a neat idea.
Nice. Yeah, still to be tested by many, probably. So yeah, if you haven't seen that and haven't used that, check it out for sure. And there were also some new packages and mentions about something what is upcoming. And you've mentioned Lee, and Lee's contentment package, of course, is still evolving. And in this tweet, Lee shared some of the insights, right, of upcoming work and prototypes with some cascading property editors. And it looks also cool and interesting for the values and possibilities of contentment, which are almost limited already, and that was proved more than once. So yeah, that's a great demo, and I don't know when and how it will be released, but it's good to see this upcoming. And again, guys, question: Did you use or used contentment already in some of the projects which you've built?
I've personally, I'm aware of it. I've looked at it, but I've never found a need for it yet with any of the projects that I've worked on so far.
Yeah, so we've used it on a project recently, and it's nice. It's very nice. I think that the primary use case is being able to have a picker for a CMS, for code, for a class, for a property on a class. So like an enum or something, really valuable for that. But I kind of wish. Like it's the same with back in V7 and V6 with was it new pickers, where you had things like that, but I would only ever use maybe one or two of the property editors that comes with it, and there's hundreds of possibilities in there, so it feels somewhat wasteful installing all of it and only using one picker.
So I a while back I released a package called Theme Picker, which lets you essentially assign an image to a text string. And one of the things I'd love to do with that is, rather than return just a text string, return an enum value. So there's probably something that could be combined there. Maybe I should have another look.
Exactly. It's always something that I've thought of. Oh, I just want the enum. I just want to be able to pick an enum. So maybe I just need to create a custom property editor that just does the enum stuff. But of course, Lee's package does it great and really well. And there's different UIs you can put on it. That's what I want. But it seems so wasteful just doing one picker on one doc type in the site, and I have to install this whole package for it.
Yeah, but still, you have a custom property editor to create many more custom editors for you. And yeah, I really like the way how Lee also proved that some of the custom properties already existing can be easily replaced with contentment. But yeah, possibilities are limitless, as we've said, and it's just a use case which needs to fetch the expectations. My kind of approach right now is I'm trying to check if it will be possible with the existing packages, and then maybe we will build it as custom if not, right? Because that's the way how maybe it should be done. I don't know. It works so far. And that's from the packages perspective, probably. Oh no, one more. Sorry. Probably, and hopefully after the whole discussions of migrating packages and making them work on V9, there are some more packages upcoming and already prepared for being used in V9. And this is the one example of them. Simple redirects package, which helps manage the redirects in Umbraco back office, did by Patrick, is right now released for Umbraco 9 version beta 1. That's another package. It's hard to find many more, but of course it just shows that some package creators already spend some time as well preparing their packages, maybe some smaller or bigger packages, to be ready for V9 when it will be ready. So yeah, that's the one. If you are working on any packages for V9, let us know in the comments or anywhere else where we can track it, because that would be good to collect some lists of packages which are even work in progress for V9. That might be helpful for some projects decisions maybe and stuff like that when it comes to deciding should we go with V9 or maybe stay with V8.
Interestingly, so there was a webinar this week for MVPs about the next of the V9 release, and I don't know if any of that was like secret. I don't think so. But one of the things that was mentioned, and I'm sure Philip won't mind me saying this, was if you were to start a project now that maybe had a December go live date, consider that maybe starting on the V9 beta isn't terrible idea. If you're willing to persevere a bit, you're willing to take the chance on maybe some packages that you want not being quite ready just yet. But I guess doing that now, starting to use it in anger more and more, will mean that 9.0 can become what 8.1 was. More stable, more established. We have a chance now to provide feedback where they will make breaking changes, and they will. So I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. People can start actually building sites on it.
Yeah.
I've got a project due to go live around August. Is the idea that we're currently planning out at the moment, and I have been like, it feels like a risk for August. But you know how projects go. Maybe it'll end up being December.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's a lower risk site, like maybe just a brochure site, I personally would maybe do that. If it's got moving parts, possibly not. But we're doing a site right now with a lot of membership stuff. And honestly, I would love to use V9 for all of the membership stuff, because that's massively improved and it's, modern. Whereas we're going to have a bunch of pain in a year's time when we have to migrate that 8 site over to 9 and redo all the membership stuff. So
Did you guys see this creators of some costs for or decisions making process for some attributes as an input? Maybe we should create something like that. If you are going to use membership, if you are going to use this one, choose V9 as a result or something like that. That's and again, most of the teams are having the same debates right now, and they are also thinking about when and how we should start, or what can be extracted from the problems, or maybe not the problems, maybe the challenges of migrating it in the future. And that's great to see, and great to see this discussion happening. But December sounds like really cool, because it's not that far away from now, right? Which is really good. Cool. And in the topic of Umbraco V9, there is an event which is upcoming.
And was this week? It's a series. So
yes, one was this week, and
Wednesday they had the what have they called it? Learnathon from Umbraco 9, and it was focused on building a site. And I know that Emma and Carol and Bjarke and Warren were all around, and they kind of helped guide people through building their first site with V9. A load of people came away really excited, which is good. I think 100 people maybe turned up to that, and then they're doing more. So they're doing one next week, and the next every Wednesday in May, I think.
So there is the next Learnathon, and this one is focused on building APIs in V9, which is another great topic because of the whole involvement of the API-driven websites and also solutions. It's great to see, and it will be great to see how it can be done on .NET Core and the .NET Core version of Umbraco. And the next event on the schedule for this week is Umbraco London, May open space event, which is open
discussions, but we'll be talking about all the kind of stuff that's happening and coming up in the next month. So exciting things that'll be going on. It's a nice relaxed evening on Wednesday, so you can Thursday. Sorry, you can do your hardcore programming on Wednesday and then come and relax with us on Thursday.
It sounds like a good plan. And Mike, you are with us here to not only talk about, of course, the new packages, releases, and all the Umbraco work related, because you were also heavily involved in some of the events preparation, and we had a quick chat before going live here. And I think that's definitely something what we can share and everyone should listen to. So can you tell us more about the secret event which you were planning and what it is and when it's happening, what's going on there?
Yeah, of course, and it's definitely no longer a secret. So must have been around 2, maybe. Well, it originally started back in January actually, and we talked about the Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which is on 20th of May, and we were like, okay, let's try and prep something in time for that. We're all pretty busy at the time, but when it gets closer to the date, we'll try and sort out an event. Then time went past, more lockdowns hit. Things got a bit quiet, and then about 2 weeks ago, give or take, we all, as at the the community accessibility team, said, "Shall we do this?" We got about 30, 40 days. That's enough time, isn't it, to put on an event from scratch? So yeah, we've been running towards the finish line to try and get stuff set up for this event, which we have fondly named UMBRAAD. You never know, Brad Pitt might turn up. And it is the first ever Umbraco Accessibility Awareness Day. We've got a number of speakers. Myself will be doing sort of a introduction to accessibility. We've got Claudia from Nexa doing a talk on voiceover. We've got a roundtable from Matt talking about the accessibility team itself and if you want to get involved, and a general round question. We've got Danny also from Nexa going to talking about accessibility and digital illusion, which sounds like a really interesting talk, talking about illusions essentially and how they relate. Another familiar face will be Joe Glenbeck. Will be doing a talk about how maps have a relation to accessibility. Now, the website that we've created, as I'm sure Callum and Martin, you can relate to, has been very rushedly put together. It went live at about 10:30 last night. It's still a work in progress, so there are typos, there is missing information, but we are going to be rapidly adding more information to this site as we go. There are links to signing up for the event. We're using Eventbrite as well as our code of conduct. So if you would like to sign up, and please do. It's going to be starting at around 1:30 on the Thursday and going on for about 3 hours. It's sort of a half-hour event. Each talk will be roughly half an hour long. And yeah, we want to try and make it a fun event to sort of educate and inform people about accessibility, both in and out of Umbraco. And yeah, we think that everyone should come along.
It sounds like you've got a really nice lineup planned there, some interesting talks, and it's great to see that the even events. Honestly, there's people look at events and say, oh, it must be really well planned, and a year in advance everything's all sorted. It doesn't work like that in reality. So you're living and breathing the realities of organizing an event, and in such a short time frame. It's ambitious, but I think based on what you've said, that sounds really exciting. And it's a work day, so like a weekday, so you can sit at your desk and listen along. You're not going to be out and about, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's nothing like a deadline to get stuff done. One thing I do want to mention is we obviously didn't do an RFC for this event, purely because of our time constraints. We kind of had to reach out to people we knew who had some potential talks. I forgot to mention we also have Tiff, who's going to be potentially doing a talk as well, and we have reached out to HQ to see if they can give us a little bit of time talking about some potential future updates. But that may or may not happen. Obviously, they're very much prepping for another large conference that's happening a little bit after. You may or may not have heard of it. But yes, there was no RFCs this time, but we do intend to make this a annual event. So next year we'll have much more time. We'll have a full RFC process for people who want to get involved, and we'll have much more time to shout and make noise about it.
Yeah, but it's virtual this year, and it's Zoom. So I guess you sign up on the.
Yeah, so we're still ironing it. Yeah, we're still ironing out the technicalities as to which platform we're going to be using. But yeah, it'll either be Zoom or a similar platform. And if you sign up via Eventbrite, you'll be emailed out all the information you need at the date. And again, if you follow the Umbraco Accessibility Team in Twitter, which off the top of my head I can't remember.
I'll put a link below. It's a very good handle.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll be posting information up there about the talks and various things leading up to it over the next 12 days.
Do you plan to record the sessions and release them afterwards?
At the moment, no. Purely because it's another thing to think about. Yeah, depending on the software we use, it may or may not be easy or not.
Nice.
So
no excuse. Just sign up if you want to go there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask about the future about it, about the event, because obviously it's every year where the Global Awareness Day is happening, and we were mentioning it back because your team was very active around this time, and not only around this time, but of course around Umbraco recently as well. We've seen the accessibility course as well for the Umbraco certifications and officially released by Umbraco on demand. So yeah, it's definitely evolving, and if it will be a fixed point on the map, everyone can fulfill the gaps of the knowledge around accessibility, because we've all admitted as well that of course we don't know everything about it, and there are some specialized companies, like for example some of the background companies of the speakers here who are specialized that, and they should tell us more about it, because we as developers, agencies and companies doing websites, we definitely need to think more about problems which are maybe not that easily exposed for us, right? So great
exactly.
Event,
I mean, our main aim and goal as in the accessibility team is to not only make Umbraco as a whole a more accessible place to be able to work and develop, but it's also in trying to ingrain it as a first class citizen. It's not and never ideally should be something that you think of as a separate part of any kind of web development. It's part and parcel. That's the goal, and the more that we can sort of encourage people to, even if it's just a case of looking at a design or experimenting for a page and trying to tab through it. There's little things, and it's all those tiny little tweaks. The more you talk about it, the more it gets ingrained into your head, the more easy it becomes, essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so yeah, call to action is to register and stay up to date. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We all know that the hands are full of work before starting even the event, and it's different from the both perspectives, from the organizer's perspective and the attendees' perspective. But if you want to attend, register. Wait for the email with all the details, and enjoy the content there. And of course, links as we've said and Callum said will be all listed down below the video. So yeah, enjoy. And you've mentioned the recordings, and funnily enough, this week we also received a bunch of recordings from US festivals. So if anyone missed that, and I did, so there are videos on Umbraco community channel right now on YouTube from the talks done there, and we can all catch up and rewatch them. So yeah, I plan to do it. I already set to watch.
There's new ones coming every day or every other day or something. They're slowly being rolled out, but yeah.
And Mike, you've mentioned another event which we all might be interested in, and it's in May, right? So and it's called Code Garden. Maybe someone didn't hear about it, but yeah, it's happening, and there is also a new initiative organized around the Code Garden, which is called a viewing party. And yeah, I thought about it personally for the team, but right now it seems like the Umbraco HQ team is also helping and pushing the idea of watching it all together in the bigger or smaller teams across the globe. And I really love this idea, and I know that Microsoft was also doing it with their global events, and I even attended one in the past, of course, pre-COVID days, in one of the Microsoft offices here. So what do you guys think about this idea? Do you plan to attend it in the bigger, and of course, COVID restriction allowed group of people?
It's an interesting one because I guess it's going to be a bunch of people sat on Zoom watching a virtual event. At least in most cases where COVID restrictions are in place, and for us, at least in the UK. At that point, we're still not allowed to meet indoors, I think, unless I'm not quite sure. I think it's a maximum of 4 people, 2 households that are allowed to meet indoors. So it will be very limited at that time. But yeah, I don't know. It would be good to see something happen. It's not going to be the same.
But I don't know, guys, if you've seen the way how Facebook events does it, or some other platforms where you are allowed to watch something together. It's like a split room on Zoom where you are watching some other event, and you can chat, you can discuss, you can comment. That's really, really cool. Even if you are virtually connected, that's something what might help you in I don't know, understanding even, or have this even more social, because if we are all close in our houses watching the single stream and just chatting, that might be not that enjoyable as chatting like we do here and watching some slides or presentations down there. I
know,
like the
Mike,
idea.
You're a big VR fan, aren't you?
I am indeed.
Microsoft have done a bunch of VR experiences around their events. So there was one for Ignite and Build as well. And again, that's an interesting concept to me, that you sit on your sofa at home, but you got your VR headset on, and you can actually kind of interact with people at a conference, but it's virtual.
It's I don't know. Have either of you ever tried a current VR headset at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I had a chance.
Yeah. So the advancements in technology, and it's never going to be Matrix, not yet. But the presence you can get when you're seeing someone, you're talking to them and you can see them move, you can get a lot of personality out of someone from their posture that can be replicated in VR. And it's actually quite interesting to have that sort of communication and that experience in a virtual place. It's quite cool. Obviously, it's never the same as in person, but there's definitely something to be said for it.
Yeah, I wonder though. I mean, every time I've used a VR headset, it's made me feel a bit nauseous or dizzy. And I know that there's been a lot of advancements in technology around like the refresh rates of displays and stuff to make sure that people don't get nauseous or motion sickness or anything. But I do wonder what kind of, I assume fatigue would be accelerated if you have one of those on for a long period of time. So maybe as a bit of fun, some networking thing. I don't know. Maybe some VR fanatics could arrange a Code Garden virtual reality viewing party.
I was going to ask about it. If you know any platform to set it up there, that would be probably a one step closer to trying to get to the first VR viewing party.
We could have a Code Garden virtual reality paintballing match.
Or boat trip. I'm still forcing a virtual boat trip.
A virtual boat trip. Good idea.
In VR. Oh no! Let's stop dreaming now. But yeah, everyone is invited to organize a viewing party, and all the details are in the blog post. There is a plan, and I believe that if people will just try to organize them, there is some prize there is not that many more mentions about it, what it is, and for what it's done for. But yeah, it's just a pure encouragement to organize parties like that, to let people know about it. And I think that some teams and companies are also going to maybe socialize more, using this as an opportunity to do it as it was used in the back in the days. So yeah, links down below. We also had some podcasts galore. Callum, can you tell me, as a Polish citizen, what the galore is? Because I didn't have time to check the translations.
Yeah, I titled this section podcasts galore, because galore means, like, there's lots of them. We're spoiled for choice, and that's true, because this week Matt and Kevin announced their new podcast, Package Manifest, which is a fantastic title. I had a listen to it yesterday. Great podcast. I'm going to enjoy listening to this one. I think Matt mentioned in the episode they've got 35 topics on a Trello board that they want to discuss, which is a lot of things there. But yeah, no, fantastic to see that they finally. Matt tweeted about this a few weeks back, I think, that he was thinking maybe would it be of interest, and it definitely is.
But also, who, if not them, who can tell us that many informations which they have, of course, in their heads and experiences. And as we've been talking about it before, a couple of weeks in a row, they do the amazing job, and we all should and can learn a lot from them. So I'm writing those 35 topics, and I'm sure that there will be 100 more of them after some crazy discussions and maybe explorations done by the community, who definitely will be following and listening to that.
In this episode, they discussed their thoughts on V9 and .NET Core and stuff. And it's funny because they recorded it last Thursday, and we had Kevin on umbraCoffee last Friday, and he talked about some of the same things. And so he actually said a bunch of the stuff he'd said in the podcast on umbraCoffee last week as well. And we talked about commercial packages too. But they also discussed their beginnings with packages and the nerves of releasing something and no one downloading it for a while and it being like, oh, was this all just, not worth it? But yeah, it seems like a really, really good podcast.
And of course, another one is already established podcast on our umbraCoffee and also Umbraco community list. It's Candid Contributions podcast, and there's a new episode called "It's Just Sparkling Consequences." And yeah, it's episode 11, so it's getting there. And of course, the links also mentioning and covering some of the content being discussed, and Basecamp.
Basecamp Gate, yeah.
Basecamp Gate, yeah, and some Umbraco stuff as well, and every other activity. So if there are podcast lovers who are not following this one or these two already now, so open your podcast app and just check the follow and listen to the episodes there.
I've got really into podcasts recently, and it's normally when I code, I like music and I like, techno or something, some like trance music, and it just lets me lock away the world. But now, working from home more, I've worked from home for a very long time, but working from home where I'm on my own for a large part of the day and I'm kind of stuck in this routine of we don't leave the house, we don't go see people. Having a podcast on in the background as kind of just chatter makes me feel a bit more human, I've found. So I listened to Matt's podcast yesterday. I listened to the MKBHD podcast, Waveform, and a few comedy podcasts as well. And I find it actually just makes my day far, far more enjoyable. So I'm slightly enjoying this new wave of Umbraco podcasts too. It'll be interesting to see how long my interest stays with it. If I'm, a newly reformed podcast fan, I don't know.
Yeah, what about
I
you,
love it when a new podcast comes out. They're my whenever I'm taking the dog out for a walk, every time a new comes out, I'm getting ready to give it a good listen. I've tried the whole listen to a podcast while working, and I need to focus on one thing or the other, and I'm like, I end up realizing I've sat there just listening and not actually doing anything.
No, that's what I do. I go, oh, actually, I've zoned out and I've tuned into that a sec. That sounds really interesting. So I'm going to rewind it back for 5 minutes. And then I found myself 15 minutes later, they're going, oh, yeah. Oh, I've got code in front of me I'm supposed to be doing.
when you've got content as good as their podcast, you want to give it the full attention that it deserves, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Also, for example, when I'm listening to the podcast, I always take notes. For example, I have some actions which I want to do from some of the podcasts as well. And when I'm driving in a car, I was usually taking a recorder and just saying that, okay, I need to do something like that because this is what I've learned. And that's where also the whole Clubhouse application and niche here with the audio backgrounds received so much attention recently. I don't know, guys, if you followed that, but Clubhouse. Clubhouse was a radio, yeah.
Twitter Spaces this week was actually made available. Anyone with above 500 followers got access to Twitter Spaces, which is their Clubhouse. I'm going to say killer. Probably not kill Clubhouse. Because
Facebook is also working on one.
Yeah, exactly. Now everyone's going to copy it, aren't they? But yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. This, having discussion rooms and that being a format as well. I don't know. Maybe someone could try an Umbraco community Twitter space or Clubhouse channel or something at some point and see.
I don't have iOS. I feel excluded from that.
Yeah, it's iOS only. I forgot that.
But yeah, that's a good idea. I think it still will find use cases. We'll find people who are enjoying that. But the Clubhouse boom went down after a period of time, and right now it's interesting where it will go in the future. Cool. Speaking about the future, again, we can highlight some of the links which are usually in the other stuff section in our list. There was a blog post about Umbraco and Docker, which is still a hot topic, still something interesting, and even is getting more hot with the Umbraco V9 version, because it will be a lot easier, a lot better, and a lot more friendly for developers and also users of Umbraco. So here is a article highlighting how to set it up, how to get started with Docker and composers. So all of the topics which we were always highlighting in the past, because some of the articles went out with the Umbraco V8 and also betas and alphas. So yeah, great article here with a really in-depth description on how to make it work with the recent and latest V9 version. And there's also UProfile, which was released this week. And Sian, I won't be trying to pronounce it correctly, Callum, can you help me?
It's like a Sean
Sims.
Sean Sims.
Yep.
It's a Welsh name, Marcin, and we know you enjoyed for many weeks trying to pronounce umbraCumri. So maybe each week make this a theme now, Marcin. Each week we'll teach you some Welsh words.
I would love to get there then and use my skills for some orders in the bars or something like that. But yeah,
I mean,
I will try to do that.
I think it's something like 5% of the Welsh population speak Welsh as their first language. And it's taught in schools, but just like how you were probably taught, I don't know, in schools in the UK, we're taught like French or Spanish or German. And most people forget it when they leave school. I guess it's the same in Poland, right? You get taught languages. It's probably the same in Wales, unfortunately, where large parts of the country don't remember.
Coming back to UProfile, it's another highlight of a community member here coming from SpinDocs, so pretty well known team and company in the community, and there is a front-end developer highlighted in this time, and of course, as each UProfile, it's covering the whole story and journey with Umbraco, how it all started, what are the interests and other parts of the job and also activity of the community member, and yeah, I really like. We were always saying that, and we will be probably always saying that it's great to see and find some new people and new members. And Sian was also attending Umbraco Spark at the same year where it all ended. So yeah, we can all relate to that, and it's great to see some new people and new faces highlighted on Umbraco UProfiles. And talking maybe about Umbraco, there is also one change to the Umbraco Awards, which was released this week, and the deadline was extended to the Sunday. It was originally the Friday midnight.
The deadlines, honestly, have confused me so much, because it was announced as the deadline originally was midnight, May 7th. which,
Yes,
if you're in the UK, is actually the 6th of May, because it's on the 6th of May, assuming that midnight is 000 on the 7th. And then it was announced that the deadline for this was something 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Pacific time or something for US people. And then it was announced as being 11:59 p.m. on the 9th. So it's the end of Sunday. It's just, if it's the end of Sunday in Europe, that's the deadline, I think.
We should use a Moment.js library or something like that to convert it to your end of Sunday. It's just the easiest deadline possible, right? But yeah, it was no matter what, it was extended, thankfully, because I had a plan to submit some of the entries there, and of course we can all participate here. And if you've missed a submission date and you thought that this is just today to make it done, no, there are still more to do, 2 more days if you want to collect your entry and make it happen.
I know that Yo-Yo have done very well of submitting things over the years, haven't you, Mike?
Yeah,
we have. We are submitting 1 or 2 this year.
Good. Yeah, good.
And did you already do it, or you are still awaiting the deadline on Sunday now?
I think I'm looking over it at the moment, and our creative director is right in the middle of getting it sorted.
Okay, that's good. And last but not least, we also have an update from the maybe tools perspective, because a lot of us are working with the GitHub and of course open source and everything else related. And right now and this week, Nat Friedman, who is the CEO of GitHub, announced the new feature, which is automatically synchronize the fork with the parent, and it can be done just from the GitHub UI. So no more pain with keeping our forks up to date. It was kind of
don't have to clone it locally. You don't have to just delete and refork. You can click a button, and it will even do a fast forward merge. So if the histories are the same and compatible, it will fast forward, which is even better. You're not going to end up with a differing history locally. And the most requested feature, if you look at the comments on that, the most requested feature is, what about rebase? Can you just rebase for me as well? And I think a bunch of the GitHub engineers acknowledge that that's hopefully going to come too. So that will be really, really cool. It means I'll never have to open, a local source control solution again. And it aligns as well with their push towards GitHub code spaces, where kind of the whole Git experience should be possible directly in GitHub or the code space. So yeah, it's exciting.
Browser for everything. And we will do everything through browser. So yeah, that's all from our list. Thanks, Jesper, for supporting us on our buy me a coffee profile. And as usual, all the links will be collected, placed down below. And yeah, we will be grateful for any shares, any forwarding them of the episode or the content with people who might be interested in the highlights or links or everything else included. And final CTA, Mike, probably again, if you're here, register to the event, which is on
20th of May. Afternoon, full day of accessibility, fun-related talks. And if you want that Twitter to keep an eye on it, the Twitter handle is umbraCoffee, which I will put in the chat because it's actually a link.
And we'll put this in the links below. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here with us today. Thanks, Mike, for joining us and sharing the info about the conference and talks which you are organizing. And yeah, see you everyone on the next Friday.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers. Have a good rest of the day and